Welcome to Viking House part 4. Wait, no, 6. What am I on about?
40.
Part 49. Viking House part 6. We are here, obviously in the woods. It's got really dark, but it's only about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're finally doing the roof. It's taken this long for us to get here. But again, I'll just explain quickly the reason why we didn't do the roof first is so that we could use the daylight to film everything else that we were building. If we put it on straight away, there would be no light inside really to film. So we're finally onto it. It's taken so long to get to this stage, and then loads of you have been really patient, so I appreciate that. We're tucking in some really good food, classic English breakfast.
Yeah, why not?
Dustin's cooked up another storm.
Why not?
And on Dustin's new little table that he's made.
Oh yeah, it's a great little table.
Isn't it? Really good little table. I like that. It's all got these sort of tangly legs. We'll show you a bit of that later. The bark roof is, we said this, it was going to be a long process. Putting it up is much easier. We are using little roofing tacks. What are they? 1 inch? 1 inch ones? Felt tacks?
Roof felt tacks.
Roof felt tacks. We've only done, what, 30% maybe?
Yeah, I reckon about 30%.
So we've still got to do the rest of that far side and all of this side as well. We're almost there, and we're very, very close. Not to the grand opening, but to the first overnighter. We're The grand opening is going to be something special, but the first overnighter will be a test, really, for me and Dustin. Don't think you'll be doing it. Will you be doing an overnighter then?
Not till about July.
We'll crack on, and I'll catch up with you guys in a bit. Well, we have finally finished the bark roof. It's taken nearly 2 days to get this done, but thankfully it's now complete. There are some small holes dotted all around the shelter, as we showed you in the previous episode. When you're limbing the cedar logs themselves, they do leave some holes. But that's okay, we've got the majority of the bark up on the shelter now, and all we can do is just tile over any holes and any gaps that are in there. But if it was torrential rainfall, there would be drips inside, but any other kind of slow rainfall, we will be fine for a while, and it's going to definitely shed some water. So that's kind of an ongoing process, is getting those holes plugged in. But you have to admit, it's starting to look like a Viking shelter now. It really is getting there. It's got that kind of rustic, almost boat-like look, and you can see why years ago they actually made their houses, some of the I say modern, but some of the more recent Viking shelters and Viking houses, their longhouses in particular, actually were based on the designs of their ships. They're almost like a ship rolled over, and it's always almost like a ship's hull. But you can kind of see it's got that sort of look to it, like a ship's hull. But we're really pleased that we've used the cedar bark. Again, it's not a historically correct Viking shelter, but we have kind of done what they used to do, and we used the resources that were around us. So the cedar logs had already been cut. We've just stripped all the bark off of those logs, and we've utilised it where we can. So we're kind of doing it the Viking way in that sense, and using as much of the resources around us. Now we used kind of roofing felt nails, which have a nice flat, large head for them, big surface area. That way they won't rip through the bark when you put them down. Where we've then run out of those nails, we've gone to kind of your standard 1 inch to 2 inch nails, and then hit them in halfway and bent them over, just to help make a kind of hook really for the bark to sit on. But we're so pleased with where it's at now. So the next phases are, obviously the roof is now complete. It's not fully complete, but it's now done. The next phase is to start working on the gable ends, and I believe Dustin over there in the background is working on the rear end of the shelter already, or the house. And let me just show you how dark it is inside, just to prove that that's why we didn't put the roof on until last minute. So here is the shelter now, and it's looking very inviting. It's really starting to look like home. You can see all the burnt ends of the wood down there. And it's all pretty secure. Again, like I say, you can see some small holes, but we'll work on those. But this is how much darker it is in here. Once I walk in, it's so much darker, and you guys wouldn't have been able to see the projects that we were doing, such as the beds. So if I boost the camera settings there, now you can see what it's starting to look like. And obviously you can see these holes in the edge of the gaps, but we'll get those done. I'm going to redo that bed at some point, sort the legs out. They're a bit too high and they're a bit too skinny, so I'm going to cut those down. We've still got the bench, 2 benches either side. Night fire pit's sitting perfectly there. Haven't opened up the top just yet, but yeah, it's looking really good. What are we building here, Dustin?
So while you and your dad have been finishing the roof, I thought, right, I'm going to try and make use of some time and start work on the gable end, or the back wall. So this will all be filled in with lengths of wood, just like this, going all the way along. Likewise over here, we'll also have lengths of wood going from this section, cross section, to this section. So all of this will be covered. Remember, this will probably stay open to help with the smoke, to get rid of the smoke when we're having a fire and a feast. And this section, this will be a window, and I'm going to try and do some makeshift hinges so it opens up, and then we can prop it up, prop the window open, so it's like this, to give us more airflow, a bit more light when it comes to filming, and yeah, it makes it a little bit more homely when there's a window you can open.
Yeah, it's
so
good.
That's
good.
what I'm thinking. And also fill this in on the bottom. So once again, all of this will be a window. This will be filled in with lengths of wood filled in there, lengths of wood filled in there. Yeah.
It's going to be good, and we're so close to the end now, aren't we? We're so close.
We're so close. I've brought the bed up that we made a few videos back.
Yeah, so we used these in an episode. I'll pop a link in the description in
the
woods, didn't we?
And I've shortened them a bit, I've trimmed them down a bit, because what we made down in the woods was actually a bit too long for what we really need it for. So therefore, I cut it down, and look.
Perfect.
There's plenty of room right here.
And you still feel that heat from the fire over there.
Exactly, yeah.
Absolutely perfect. So I'm going to sort this bed out at some point, change the legs, level it all up. But we're very much getting there, and we're almost ready for the first overnighter.
I can't wait.
This one, we've got these. We've had them, like, I can't tell you the years. I think I bought them in the early 1970s at an auction. We don't sort of know what they are. Maybe one of you guys knows what they are. We think it's something like an ibex there. I painted it black, cleaned it all up. It was outside on Mike's little surf shack for 10 years, just hanging up. So it's been renovated. I rubbed the oak down here, the shield, and give their coat of stain. So it's all ready to go up in pride of place. I put 3 different rings up there so that we can hang, because it has to hang and rest on the top there. We won't be leaving them here. Obviously, we're going to use them, you know, when we're filming. It might get changed. We might get some deer antlers, deer skulls, something like that. But listen, we're finished. We've done all the roof. That's a celebration. That's the sort of last bit. That and the deer
finishing
skins.
touch. So Dustin, what you do? You got some hides there. We're just doing this for tinkering around with images, guys, and things like that.
Got a few hides. This one's fallow, and then I've got a what we've got antlers out there, fallow antlers as well. So just to go with the Viking theme.
Yeah, pride of place at the front. This all isn't staying here, guys. We're just doing this for aesthetic look, really, for the filming, and just to, when we come here, we will be bringing skins to sleep on and stuff, won't we?
Oh yeah, plenty of them.
Plenty of skins, but it's more for us to just gauge, make it as Viking-like as possible. But we will be taking these back home and not leaving them out here because they will weather away over time. It's looking good now. Well, we're having a good old-fashioned English tea break.
We need it.
We need it after all this spark. But now you can get an idea of the perspective of inside of the Viking house. And we've got our two raised beds here. So one that myself and Dad are sat on. There's Dustin's one that he's been doing over the other side opposite. Got the fire pit in the middle. Dustin's on a bench. There's another bench down there. There's a few kind of tweaking bits that we're still going to do inside here. But for the moment, for the majority of it, the big part of the build is now done.
The only problem is I'm now a permanent fixture.
Yeah.
Now I'm a permanent fixture because where I'm sitting is
You're
the
sitting on the
same size as the dowel. So I'm going to be... You need to trim that one over.
Yeah. Good job I didn't put any pine pitch on that one.
I need that with a curry.
No, it's good. We're just saying how a nice full animal cooking over the fire now.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Really, really good. Get some real big coals down.
Turning it.
Yeah.
Nice marinade, baste it as it turns, and carve a bit off into your flatbread. And
Do you have a spit to do it, or would rebar do it and then bend the rebar to make a? Because the rebar's got two U's in it and a U in it.
Just some hazel works absolutely fine.
Oh, really?
A nice bit of hazel like
take
that.
The weight,
strip the bark off. Yeah.
Yeah, take the weight. Yeah, but then the thing is, with you know, half an animal, or even a chicken, a whole chicken, if you were to thread it onto a bit of hazel and turn it, there's a good chance the chicken would stay there and the wood would turn.
Oh really? It wouldn't keep skidding.
So you kind of need pins.
Oh I see. Stop
so
it.
the good thing about hazel is you can use your knife, and then you can split it.
Yeah.
To create a split, and then using a splint of wood.
Oh I see. Like a skewer.
Through like a skewer. So that way your meat turns when you
Otherwise
turn
it's
the
going to
wood.
spin.
Otherwise the wood turns and the meat stays there
Yeah.
with the heaviest part of the meat at the bottom.
At the bottom, yeah, it won't turn. It's just spin every time you rotate. It's going to spin.
So the wind at the moment is coming. Well, I said the wind. The draft is coming from the front end of the shelter through here. So obviously we need to get the gable end up this side at the rear, which hopefully, and we're going to dig a pit, a small tunnel, just so that there's a bit more airflow. We've sealed off the roof at the top with a piece of bark. I don't know if you saw that. I was up on the ladder. We kind of got a ridge, a long thin piece of bark, and it's like you do with proper roofings, wasn't it, Dad? Just like a ridge, ridge, making that ridge tile.
Long ridge tile.
Yeah. And so we're going to try and improve the air efficiency. I did a bit of research, and I think traditionally Viking houses were known to be very smoky. I think that contributed to some of their health problems. Hopefully it won't contribute to many of ours. But yeah, so that's going to be an ongoing issue, and we're going to just tinker with things and play around to try and adapt the shelter in the fire pit to allow better airflow in the house itself.
So what we've done on the outside of this pit, I've come right through with a drain spade. It's got a 4-inch gap there because that's the size of the drain spade, the idea of using it. Got a piece of cedar here. We split it down, turn it upside down, rammed it up under here. I've got some bark on top, some soil on top of that, but then when I come up here to stop this collapsing, I put a bark support all the way round there, packed it down in here with clay. I've got the clay, the dampest of the clay I dug up, packed it all around, put it in some of the cracks there so that should set, and then trim the edge round and then put the soil in so it's a nice clear, very big entrance, and we will try and see if there's any difference with the fire smoke, well, probably at a future date. So basically from the inside we've sort of done that, if that makes sense. And they've got pegs, about 2-inch pegs under here as a support, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pegs here. I put the bulk of 3 pegs here because that's where people are going to walk. That's gone on top, packed down, then some bark, levelling it off, and then the clay, and we're just going to be clearing this clay off and get tidied up a bit.
And that goes into the pit.
It goes into the pit, and look, you can put your arm right down here. Now I can get right down past that peg. So there's about a 5-inch by 5-inch, I guess the size of that.
So I'm up here at the roof of the Viking house. As you can see, got the kind of ridge tiles, which is, we used cedar again, cedar shingles for this. Just peeled it off, made a nice little kind of curve where I could. We have used nails, but that's going over that back section of the shelter, all the way over to there.
So this is the makeshift window. I've just pretty much made a frame from some of this cedar wood, and then by attaching this with some cordage there and there, it will act as a hinge. That way, when we're in the shelter, we can just open up the window like this. We'll have a stick with a V-notch. There's our window.
So good. It is good. That's cooking away in there as well, doing something. Awesome. Look at it. Looks like a Viking boat. I'm impressed. We've really outdone ourselves.
It's incredible.
So that is it for part 6 of the Viking house build. It's really coming along now. I know you roof lovers have been waiting for this roof for a long time. We're really pleased we've got it up. We feel like we've kind of outdone ourselves a bit with this shelter. We're complete amateurs, all of us. We're just learning along the way and just using the resources around us. I hope you've been enjoying this series. I want to say a huge thank you to all the new subscribers that have come on over to TA Outdoors watching this Viking house build. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're enjoying it. There's probably going to be maybe one or two more parts. Obviously the gable end, that's that far side, and then the front side here as well, with potentially a door. Let us know your suggestions. Is there anything else you'd like to see us build here at this Viking house, or any other kind of types of video that you would like to see here? There may be a different type of video out before the next part of this one. I don't know yet, but I think myself and Dustin will be ready for an overnighter here. Dad, you don't want to do an overnighter, do you?
No, no overnighters for me.
No, Dad doesn't want to do the overnighters. He's happy building, but I don't think he wants to do the overnighters. But anyway, thank you so much, and I hope to see you guys real soon in the next episode.